On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks have 3 top 30 bigs in the NBA. It's the best unit in the league. We'll talk about that and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
Stop it! Stop! The number 1 pick will go to the Dallas Mavericks. Cooper Flagg will fly in Dallas.
Dogs, all of us, all 5.
You are Locked On Mavs. Great, your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast.
No one's dying.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave.
Your team every day.
I'm going to get a city like that.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Mavs for 10 years. Thanks for being every day, making Locked On Mavs your first listen and making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network out there. Join me, as always, my co-host, media member covering the Mavs for 10 years, right alongside me, the big boy, the one more thinking. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Guys, we're a week away from NBA Mavs Media Day. A week away. This is crazy. We're almost here. Next week is training camp.
Oh my
The
gosh.
NBA season is almost here, and then we're a couple weeks away from NBA preseason. It feels like it just ended, but I'm so ready to watch Cooper Flagg play basketball.
Could not disagree more. It did not feel like it just ended. How long ago does it feel like I was in Memphis covering that play-in game? That felt like a lifetime ago.
Okay, yes. Those days it feels like it was yesterday we watched Cooper Flagg play like Summer League.
Summer League, yeah. That I was sitting there and Allen Iverson was sitting in front of me
It's true.
watching Cooper Flagg. That does feel like it was just yesterday. And so today, we're going to get into ranking the bigs in the NBA. The Mavs have one of the best big man units in the NBA, or is it the best unit in the NBA? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about where Lively and Gafford rank among the best bigs in the NBA. What do we mean by bigs and not centers, and specifically starting centers or power forwards, or what does that even mean? And we also will talk about Jeremiah Robinson-Earl. He got signed by the Mavericks to a training camp contract, and so we'll talk about him and his impact on the team and what he could bring, all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that. Let's start here, Isaac Harris. We decided to rank bigs. We do this every single year, and we do this outside of the top 100. We've done it all the way back to 2017. I went back and I started looking at some of our rankings all the way back then. We used to rank starting point guards, starting shooting guards, starting small forwards, starting power forwards, starting centers to see where the Mavericks starters rank amongst all the starters in the NBA. And we've
I
kind
think
of
that shows how long we've done it. The
Yeah.
fact that like those positions have become even less relevant. I mean, Yoda said that it would be like this, so
position or position not. Oh, you must try. There's only a couple positions in the NBA, and I think it's like position groups. There are bigs, there are wings, there are guards, right? Like it's you fall into one of those 3 categories. And there are some hybrids, and there's some guys that fall in little ones. We had to discuss certain ones back and forth. We're like, what is Aaron Gordon? What is Draymond? Like, so we went and talked about that. What are PJ Washington, Cooper Flagg? And so we decided to rank bigs. And in the ranking of bigs, we put Anthony Davis, Dereck Lively, Daniel Gafford. Those are the ones that are eligible for this list.
Dwight Powell.
We went through Dwight Powell's eligible as well, for sure.
Yeah.
And we decided to rank just the top 30. Who are the top 30 big men in the NBA to see where the Mavericks are? And right off the bat, I had Anthony Davis 4. I think he's the 4th best big man in the NBA. I have Jokic. We decided to put Giannis as a big. I think he's going to play a lot of 4 this season. And Victor Wembanyama at 3, and I have Anthony Davis at 4.
No, that's what I have. I think it's a clear top 4. You could argue about what you want to do with Joel Embiid. He's kind of impossible to rank right now. It's like I don't know what to do with him. But if you just look at those 4, I think those are the best 4 bigs, in the NBA. And when you start looking at names on this list, as far as like looking at bigs, some of these names you could like debate on, like you said, like Aaron Gordon. Would you say he's a wing or a big? We put him as a big. Just because you play the 4 in some lineups on another team doesn't mean, like a Lowry Markkanen, doesn't mean that you're all a big on. But playing the 4 in Dallas, like Anthony Davis, you're a big. Like because they're committed to this double big lineup.
But PJ Washington playing the 4 is not like a big man. That is a different kind of like.
Yeah, we put him as a wing
forward. So you do have to evaluate each different player, and it actually, to me, talks about and informs us on how the Mavericks are going to play this year. They're going to have 2 bigs a lot. It's going to be different than what we've seen in the past with a Lively and PJ Washington starting. That was a big man and a wing starting at the 4, and a wing that was 4 sized, right? Like sized for that. The Mavericks are now going to have basically a 7-footer at that spot. That is going to be a very different look than what the Mavericks have had in the past. They are used to the spread offense, the 4-man and the 3-man basically do the same thing, and kind of the 2-man sometimes too if it's just a spot up shooter like Klay Thompson. They all just kind of stand around the perimeter. They are there for open shots. They'll cut every once in a while. They'll set ball screens every once in a while. It's going to be very different what Anthony Davis does functionally compared to what PJ Washington did. And so that's why we decided to put him in the bigs category. And I think it does talk about how different this is going to be for the Mavericks. Anthony Davis does do some wing things. He handles the ball a little bit. He's going to take some jumpers. He's going to do some things here and there, but he is a big man. And so is Jokic. So is Wemby. Giannis does some big man things. He also does some wing things too. Like if you decided you wanted Giannis as a wing and we really argued about it, like I may put him somewhere different. Either way, Anthony Davis is one of the best bigs in the NBA. Clearly. Yeah,
100%. I mean, I think you can make a case that Wemby does more things on the wing than Giannis. Just with some of his ball handling stuff. But it's interesting to me when you look at these top 4 bigs in the NBA, and Jokic, Giannis, Wemby, AD, that Jokic and Wemby are probably your 5s, and playing with a smaller type of 4 next to them. You look at AD and Giannis, both of them probably playing the 4, but they're both playing with 2, like the 5 men that they're playing with are opposites. Like Gafford and Lively, at least right now for Lively, is not a stretch 5. Hopefully, maybe. Mark Cuban thinks so. But you put Miles Turner next to Giannis, and like Miles Turner's a really good outside shooter. So I think this is what's going to tell you. I'm so fascinated to see the double big lineup. If AD doesn't develop into a very consistent outside shooter, or if Lively doesn't either, having 2 of those guys on the floor at all times that are not threats from the outside is fascinating to me. And outside of that, I wonder if we both had the same person at 5, because I had Towns at 5.
I had Evan Mobley.
I had Mobley at 6, and I put this caveat in there. Mobley has a chance to move up in that. Shocking, I did tiers. That he has a chance to move up into that top 5 tier with another season, like improving his offense.
Yeah. That's our top 5. I want to go back to Anthony Davis for a second, because Mark Stein reported this over the weekend that Anthony Davis has returned to the practice floor this week, played some 5-on-5, and he's his first game.
God, you're all shooken up over there.
Game speed action.
What has you like shook?
Just the bigs. There's just something big. It feels big, right? There's something big about this lineup.
I thought it was like
it's new.
Taylor
new.
Swift.
It's new. It's different. I don't know. Travis Kelce's getting all worked up on the sidelines in that Chiefs game.
Yeah.
But Anthony Davis is starting to play basketball activities, and that was the thing we worried about when we talked about they haven't seen him yet. Mark Stein had that report earlier. I'm not concerned about it anymore. If he's starting to play now in late September, okay, he's gonna be ready unless a different injury pops up, or unless there's something else that we don't know about, like the retina thing that happened. He'll be ready to go, and that's awesome and great.
Yeah, that's why the other day, if y'all listened, I guess it was the Friday pod, that was like, I just hadn't heard, not that it matters. I just hadn't heard anything about AD not playing or being available, or like I hadn't heard any type of concerns like that. So I get the concern of it, but I just hadn't heard anything around that. So it's definitely encouraging to see Stein's report of, that he's back on the practice floor and all this stuff. I expect AD to be fully ready to go.
And the Mavs have a top 5 big. They're going to start. And honestly, like, Victor Wembanyama is super impactful, and I think he's going to be better this season. But there's a world where Anthony Davis is better than Wemby this season, and you're talking about a top 3 big in the NBA. And if you take Giannis out and put him as a wing, then you're talking about the second best big in the NBA in Anthony Davis, right? Like, I can't get him past Jokic. I can't mentally. I can't do that. I can't leap through that hoop. But Anthony Davis is that good. We're hyping him up a lot this summer because he is that good of a player. And there are, the injury concerns are one thing, but he's going to be ready for the start of the season. Great. Love that. Excited to see him play.
He's arguably, outside of Embiid, probably the biggest, like, what if injury wise player as far as like, as far as people who have had consistent injury issues over the past. And
not like an Odin.
Yeah, like 5 or 6 years that you've seen the peaks of them be so high. Joel Embiid winning an MVP, Anthony Davis leading a Lakers team to a title relative. that, you see,
You can't say, well, I guess he helped lead, but anything to just throw a dart at LeBron.
I was more throwing a dart at the bubble championship than anything.
Either one. Both.
I got to watch out because now
one the same.
Now we have half of that staff and roster on.
I know, like the whole team
on the Mavs. I got to watch what I say now with that. But no, it's like you've seen the peaks of those guys that they're the kind of like the biggest what ifs of like injury wise, to where if those two guys are healthy, they're two of the best guys in the league. There's a reason why when Nico Harrison makes that Luka trade, you get a guy like back, like AD back as the centerpiece of that deal. He is that type of guy. And he is one of the best bigs in the league. This is how the Mavs are shifting their identity now from this like ball handler creator in a Luka Doncic to now your best player is going to be a big in Anthony Davis. And we saw the glimpse of that against Houston. Hopefully we get more of that moving this season.
Hold on. Every time we reference that Houston half, it's
the Houston half, man. It's yeah, take a drink.
I will every single time. Coming up, Anthony Davis. I think he's a top 10 player. Isaac thinks he's a top 10 player. The Locked On Top 100 didn't. We'll talk about that and where Lively and Gafford rank in our list coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. 17 different flavors. 17. That's so many. Maybe the last time you thought about 5 Hour Energy, you didn't realize they had that many different flavors. Maybe they just had the one. I feel like when they first started coming out, I really only saw the one label and like the one, was it a flavor? Was it just that 5 Hour Energy just existed? Was it just like, I don't know. It's just energy in a little bottle. But now 17 different flavors. You can go check it out. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee plus B vitamins and nutrients. Here's the thing, 0 sugar, 0 crashes as well. Check it out. See what you can get with 5 Hour Energy. Enough of the boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love. To be bold or try something new in-store and online at 5hourenergy.com. It's the number 5 and then Hour Energy. So 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon today.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad. That's what we call our listeners, listening every day. If you want to stay up to date with the show, learn all kinds of updates, any kind of rumors that we hear, literally any rumor I hear about the Mavericks, I will text you. We'll send some notes. We'll send our thoughts. Isaac will send them. We do that before we do Twitter. Before we post an episode, we'll send it straight to your text box. You can ask us questions on there. We do mailbags on there, 214-643-8637, or check the link in the description. It's joinsubtext.com/LockedOnMavs, and you can get text from us on that. It helps support the show. All right, Isaac, we're talking about the top 30 bigs in the NBA. This is an exercise we do every year to go through where do the Mavericks rank? Like where are their position groups ranked? Where are their starters is what we used to do. And so now we're ranking the top 30 bigs. Anthony Davis was clear top 5. We both had him 4, and we have a clear top 6 with Jokic, Giannis, Wembanyama, Anthony Davis, Evan Mobley, and Karl-Anthony Towns in semi-different orders. But that's what we had. Anthony Davis, though, in our Locked On Top 100, came in 14th in the top 100.
This came out when I was on vacation, and I think you're lucky because I would have went off a few times.
So here's the top 10. It was Jokic, SGA, Giannis, Luka, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Wemby, Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum. We decided to do injured players because it wasn't as fun if John Krause doesn't get to talk about Tatum. And then the next group is Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Halliburton, who also gets to be rated in this, even though he's going to be out, and then Anthony Davis. How would you have gone off on the top 100? I'm giving you your shot right here. This is your time.
Well, no, I mean, this is just tough for me because I really like Jalen Brunson, but like, are we really saying he's the 8th best player in the NBA right now?
Steph Curry is 5 on that list.
Steph Curry, yeah, I kind of get it.
You're fine with that one?
With Steph?
Yeah.
I kind of, yeah. I mean, personally, I had Steph at 7. I had AD at, if we're going to, I didn't rank the injured players in my top 100 because once again, like you said before, all the hosts submitted their top 100 rankings of their players. And this is how, we got these like collective rankings here. So when I've submitted mine, I didn't have Tatum and Halliburton and Dame in mine. Since they're all going to be out and stuff. So if Tatum was going to be in there, then yes, I would have Anthony Davis at 10. I had Steph at 7. I had Brunson at 12. I like Brunson a lot. I think Brunson's done an amazing job in New York, but
I also had Brunson at 12.
yeah, I just the two-way stuff, him on defense is pretty tough for me. I just don't see the argument for Brunson over Anthony Davis for me. I mean, I honestly had Anthony Davis over LeBron too for the spot that LeBron's at in his career. Yeah, I just think I think it's a little disrespectful to AD to have him at what's he on here, 14?
14.
Yeah, some people's forgetting that two-way spot of how good AD is. I mean, when we talk about two-way players in the league, and yes, when they're healthy, it's a conversation between Giannis and Anthony Davis, and it stops right there. And I mean, Wemby, I guess you want to put Wemby in there, but you're laughing.
I struck because I did this exact same thing. I had all the same rankings as you, basically. Like, we did this exercise separately. We have now become two-way apologists about NBA players, where we were for the longest time. It's like, well, Luka's the offensive engine, and he should be a top 3 player in the NBA. And now it's like, well, maybe the two-way player. And I just think that it's like it does matter. Like, the two-way stuff does matter.
Brunson's not on Luka's level, though. Like,
I just wonder if we've swung too far in the two-way direction.
No, because I think
did the check clear from Nico first before we did this?
No, because I think if you're the elite of elite, like a Luka type of level, Brunson is not Luka on offense.
I agree.
So if you're that good on offense, then you're like SGA. I think SGA's defense is overrated. I think he's fine and it's good. It's better than like a Trae Young or something like that. But he's not like a lot. He's not Gary Payton on defense.
And neither
but
is
his
Jokic.
offense isn't. What'd you say?
And neither is Jokic.
No, but it's amazing. So, but I don't think Brunson's offense takes him to the level. He's an amazing offensive player. I think Anthony Davis is a top 10 player in the league. I think him and Giannis are the two best two-way guys in the league that can impact the floor at that level. You know, when they're on the floor, like, I mean, look at some of what was it? One of the last few games for the Lakers they played, he had a 40-20 game. Anthony Davis did. Anthony Davis, when he was playing when he's playing and at his prime, like, he leads, like, he won a title. So, like, I think it's a little disrespectful to have Anthony Davis at 14. Show me the people above him again. Like, Halliburton over him.
Yeah, even injured or not, would you have him?
No, and I like Halliburton a lot, and I like having Halliburton like in that. Like,
what about Donovan Mitchell?
I'm fine with Mitchell. Yeah, like I'm fine with Mitchell. Mitchell has performed in the playoffs. He puts up massive numbers.
Brunson was better than him in the playoffs.
Okay.
I had Brunson a spot ahead of Donovan. I had Brunson at 12 and Mitchell at 13.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm not as married to that. Like, I can hear that argument of like Brunson versus Mitchell and all this stuff. I just know when these guys are on the floor, or if you put these, top 12, top 14 players on the floor and said, "Hey, I want to do a pickup game, or I want to go win a gold medal," Anthony Davis is going to be one of my first handful of picks, because he's going to play defense at a high level and he's going to play offense at a very high level, and that's what I want. So,
and you can just build so many different teams around him, like.
Yeah, he's a top 10 player in the league. Like, I'm going to say that all year. I believe that. I think it was that. I believe that when they made a trade with Luka, even though I think Luka's taller, higher in the list and better than him. He's not taller than AD. But he's a top 10 player in the league, and yeah, I don't think Brunson's a better player than AD. Sorry,
I'm with you on that. Before we move to Gafford and Lively, where we rank them in the best bigs, the Mavs, according to Mark Stein, have finalized an agreement to sign former Thunder and Pelicans big man Jeremiah Robinson-Earl to bring to training camp, just like the Dennis Smith Jr. signing that we talked about on Friday. There doesn't appear to be roster room for Robinson-Earl, but he chose to take Dallas's offer rather than to go overseas and see interest in other clubs. We've been talking about that too. This is a training camp spot. He's played 197 games in the NBA. Like, he's got some experience, but he's 6'7", and he plays center, and he plays small ball. He plays small ball 5. And he plays 4. The Mavericks literally do not have roster spot for him or a rotation spot for him. This is the one, like, This would shock me to no end if he made the roster. Especially if they would have to do like, all right, let's get rid of Dwight Powell for him, right? Like, let's move on, or let's do that or something. There's just really no space for him because the Mavericks have so many other players to take up that space. Anthony Davis, who we've been talking about, Cooper Flagg, PJ Washington, Lively, Gafford. Like that front court is so full. There's just really no spot for him. And so to me, this is just a training camp roster. Like, I don't even think it's worth talking about. Well, what if he makes the roster? This is an opportunity for Jeremiah Robinson-Earl to show off in front of the rest of the NBA and to get a spot somewhere else, I think.
Yeah, and I'll add this. I think this also is a small glimpse into the type of training camp that Dallas wants to have. There's a lot of training camps that teams bring into camp. They bring in their 20-something guys. I forgot what the exact number is now. It used to be 20. They might have upped that a few or something now. But a lot of times it's like those it's the pure super young guys that's like you kind of barely know them, or we're kind of like digging up. It's like, oh, they played at North Dakota State for 2 years and they really just want them to play in the G League and stuff up in Frisco.
Rights for the legends,
yeah, and stuff like that. Dallas is going out and they're signing Dennis Smith Jr., a vet who is going to fight for a spot. They're signing Robinson-Earl, who has all the experience and stuff. Like these aren't no-namers that have never touched an NBA floor before. These guys have experience. They've played in the league before, and they're going to come into camp and bust some butt. And that just it gives me a little bit more insight into camp and I'll push back just a little bit of saying I don't think a guy like Robinson-Earl is going to turn down some money and stuff overseas, whatever, to go to camp with zero shot at all at making the roster. I think that this is...
Well, who's to make the roster over?
But it's more of like, hey, they could create a spot. They could trade somebody or whatever it is. I think it's more of like, hey, your roster spot's not safe, whoever you are. Like we're bringing guys in. We're going to compete for some spots, guaranteed money or not. Like probably not, but I'm just saying like these aren't no-name guys that's never played in the league. Like these are vets that are going to fight for spots.
The point about the competitiveness is really good. And the Mavs roster is like that. The Mavs are not rostering guys that we're like, all right, let's develop some of these guys. Maybe they're 2 years away from being 2 years away, right? The Bruno Caboclo. We should call that, is it the Bruno Caboclo quotient? The Bruno Caboclo.
Bruno continues to ball out for Brazil national team.
But they're not bringing in those guys. They're bringing in all players that, like, I think every single player on the Mavs roster, there's somebody in the Mavs fan base that is like, that person should have a roster spot. That person should play rotation minutes, right? Like, there are people that think Exum. There are people that think Brandon Williams. There are people, maybe not Dwight.
Robinson-Earl's not going to take Dwight's spot. Sorry, guys.
But everybody else on the roster is going to be competitive, fight for minutes. This is not everybody has their spot in the rotation and it's all set in stone team anymore. And I think your point is a good one about the training camp roster being the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Coming up, let's talk about where Lively and Gafford rank in our top 30. Are they top 30 bigs in the NBA? I say yes. Let's talk about that and more coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Monarch Money. Monarch Money helped me when I just had so much going on and could not figure out how to manage my money. And the hardest thing, honestly, is like starting. It's trying to figure out, all right, I have all this stuff going on. I have savings accounts. I have different different credit cards for different points I'm trying to do. I have student loans. You have a mortgage. You have all these different things, money coming in and out, a 401k, maybe with your job. And you're like, how do I just put this all together in one spot, manage it, look at it, and find something that's going to give me flowcharts to show exactly where my money is coming from and where it's going, all in one place? Monarch Money helps you. It's built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch Money is for you. It does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes. It didn't take me that long at all to do a bunch of different accounts. You can do it too, and you can finally feel like you're in control of your money, or even just can see where it's going. You don't even have to touch a spreadsheet. I love a spreadsheet, but if you don't, this is for you. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. Again, that's 50% off your first year. monarchmoney.com. The promo code is LOCKEDONNBA, all one word, LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Isaac, we're talking about top 30 bigs in the NBA. We do these rankings every year. Anthony Davis is the top 4. Big for us, for sure. We went through the rankings, and maybe we'll talk about like where we had the rest of the rankings and who else we had, or maybe we'll put it in the description or something. I ended up having Dereck Lively at 25. I put him in my top 100 at 100. I decided to put him in there. I think he's going to have a big year. I think this is a big season for Dereck Lively. The top 100 for Lockdown was all about projecting for next season. And so I think Dereck Lively deserves to be on the top 100 list. And if you just take bigs, right, we included like Draymond Green. We didn't include like Zion, LeBron. We didn't include some of those. Like we decided some of them are functionally wings, some of them are functionally bigs. But in just the bigs, I had Dereck Lively at 25, and I had Daniel Gafford at 27.
Oh, yeah, I had them right together at 21 and 22. So the fact that we have them as top 25, we can both say that we think that they're both top 25 bigs in the NBA.
Who are the best players you had below Lively and Gafford?
Mitchell Robinson, Porzingis. I had them
you had
right
Porzingis
there.
below them.
I did. I mean, you got to play, I think, which I get the
That's
Lively
fair.
thing.
That's fair.
And
But
Lively.
I think everybody would say that about AD at the top, and that's why I think AD didn't get ranked as highly as we would have thought.
True. No, it's a very good point. The Porzingis stuff, yeah, I think there's just a little bit of like uncertainty for me. I never like really saw the full story for him last year. Of like why he was out for that's most of the time, and then like is he back to normal now? I guess if he's back to normal and just like regular KP, then he'd be up the list. I just didn't know kind of like what to do with him. But if you just take his name out there, it's like Mitchell Robinson, Aldama, Portis, Naz Reid. I had Hartenstein right there around those guys, around that 20 spot. Jalen Duren at 19. I like Duren's rebounding and some of the stuff, what he did in the playoffs and stuff for Detroit. But Lively, what?
I'll be fair to our Lakers fan friends now. I had DeAndre Ayton.
I didn't have Ayton in my top 30 at all.
I think he's there. I think he's pretty good. I don't know if I can rely on him, but I think he's pretty good.
I'd rather have Jakob Poeltl than Ayton.
Oh, I had Jakob Poeltl on the list too. I had him at 26.
Okay. I would rather have Alex Sarr than Ayton.
Well, then you're projecting.
I am. Yeah, I am projecting a little bit with Sarr. But let's think about Lively just for a second.
Yeah.
Because I think we both probably think, and this isn't a shot at Gafford, but like who Gafford is. Gafford is a solid center in the league that I think a lot of teams would love to have as their starting center. I don't think that there's a spot that Gafford, like I don't think we're looking at this at the end of the season saying Gafford's past Jarrett Allen as like, or whatever it is. I think there is a chance that for Dereck Lively to have that type of season to where how high can Dereck Lively go up the list of bigs in the NBA? So like, is there a world that Dereck Lively passes a Miles Turner or a Rudy Gobert? Gobert was kind of hard for me on this list because it's kind of like Draymond in a way of like, they have their like unique role as a big, but it's like, can Lively pass a Jarrett Allen? Can he pass a Chet Holmgren? What is that lane for Lively to move up this list? What type of season is it for Lively to move up on the best bigs in the league? Yeah.
And he's got to do it a little bit differently. He's got the pick and roll chemistry with D'Angelo Russell has to be there. I think he's got to come up with some kind of chemistry with Anthony Davis. The big to big, the high low, like the high post action stuff has to be good with them. And there was a report from Sam Amico that Gafford is going to start, and I saw some people responding to it. I don't know if I believe that one just yet. But if they decide to do something like that and Gafford starts, Lively coming off the bench, he becomes then like a pretty key playmaker for that second unit. And him making plays in the pick and roll, or even just in the short roll, even just in the middle of the floor, if they play against the zone or if they play against whatever, Lively making those plays, I think has to be big. That's what kind of separates him, I think, from some of the other bigs. And then defensively, he can switch in a way that some of the other bigs like above him, like I have Vooch above him, and I'm kind of regretting that right now.
Vooch?
I know.
Oh my gosh. Get your Johnny Bravo looking self out of here.
Vooch still puts up a bunch of numbers. Rebounds, can space the floor, is impactful. I'm regretting it. I already said I'm regretting it.
You should regret that.
But then the next centers above him, if you take out Porzingis, is like Naz Reid, Miles Turner, Jarrett Allen, Rudy Gobert. Now all of a sudden, Şengün, Holmgren. Like now you're getting into all stars, like all defensive, and so he's got to get up into that category to get him up there.
Yeah, I couldn't do Naz Reid. And it's really these like types of these lanes of bigs, right? Like Lively isn't a Sabonis. Like Sabonis more crafty and all that stuff. Lively's more of a defender around the paint, plays above the rim and all that stuff. So like, what's the lane that he could go down that he moved? Like you look at like at Evan Mobley, he's just not as like mobile as Mobley. Like he's not as good on offense as Mobley and all that. So it's like, all right, so you look at the lane of Gobert, Chet, and Jarrett Allen. Like, I think those three guys are kind of like similar to Lively's game as far as like the rim rolling center, playing above the rim, the shot blocker, maybe with a little jump hook type of thing. Chet has the three that the other two, doesn't have.
And just the ball handling.
Yeah, and the ball handling can Lively, get the outside shot at some point. But I'm looking at like a guy like Jarrett Allen that a lot of people, I have Jarrett Allen pushing the top 10 there. Like I have him at like 12, 13, somewhere through there. If Lively can make the Jarrett Allen jump this season into being viewed and playing like a Jarrett Allen for Cleveland. I mean, didn't Nico say like last year of like he's looking at Cleveland, what they did with Mobley and Allen and stuff, and that's kind of like what they want to like emulate and stuff. So I think that's the lane that I'm looking at for Dereck Lively of can you be viewed around the league like Jarrett Allen in Cleveland to where you're going to get paid over $20 million a year. You could stay healthy and you're having that defensive impact and all that stuff. Jarrett Allen doesn't have the three. I hope at some point Lively can have the three, but that's the lane I think for him.
We think the Mavericks have 3 top 30 bigs, even top 25 bigs right now in the NBA.
I think they have 3 top 25 bigs in the league. Yeah. I think, and if you did the whole, like, who has the best, like, 3-man, if you went across the league and say, who has the best 3-man big unit in the NBA, I think they're right. I think they're like a top 5 3-man unit, big unit in the NBA.
Absolutely. Maybe even the best one if you depending on how you weight them.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we're going to rank more things, more of our positions, and see where the Mavericks rank among that. We'll probably talk about wings tomorrow and see where Cooper Flagg and PJ Washington rank and all that. So stick back with us. Subscribe to our text line. Link in the description to be able to get in contact with us. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.